welcome to this video. I'm Ingo from Roast Rebels, and today is all about the typical Italian espresso, and therefore I have a very special guest with me today. He's Italian, of course. He's a roaster, he's a barista champion, and head of coffee at Ditta Artiginale in Florence. And I'm really happy to have him here. Welcome, Francesco Masciullo. Great to have you here.
Thank you very much, Ingo. Welcome to everybody.
So before we deep dive into the topic, it would be nice to learn a little bit about you, who you are. So can you maybe introduce yourself, what you're doing with coffee? Because I think you're doing quite a lot, or you have quite some experience working with coffee.
Well, I'm, as you said, I'm Francesco Masciullo. I was Barista champion of 2017 of Italy. I reached the 11th place in the World Barista Championship that was in Seoul, in Korea, South Korea. I born as a barista. I study like IT, but then I didn't find nothing interesting regarding IT, regarding my job. And one day it was just going to the roastery making a coffee course, and I don't know what happened. I don't know really what happened, but it was something magical. So from there, I decided to work with the coffee. It was, I think, I don't know, I don't remember, 20 years ago. So from there, I decided really to work with coffee, and then to learn how to work with the coffee. I studied a lot. I did a lot of courses. I moved also from Italy, and I went to London because London is one of the city of specialty coffee, where specialty coffee market is growing a lot. So if you want to learn, you should learn from the best, and that's why I moved there. And then 2014. I moved back in Italy because Ditta Artigianale was opening the first coffee shop in Italy. So I decided to work with the owner and help him to construct and to build this project, because we were the first to open and to spread the specialty coffee market in Italy. So we were the first company to open and to work with the specialty coffee in Italy. And that's why I decided to help my owner, and so to move from London and to help him in this big project.
So I can also feel that, like, in your heart, you're a kind of a specialty coffee enthusiast. Nevertheless, now, I mean, you're a person that's striving for quality in coffee, and the topic that we will have a look at now is more than the traditional classical side of coffee, which I think you probably also know quite well, having worked.
Yeah, of course, I know a lot because I'm Italian.
Yeah.
But what I can say is coffee is subjective. The best cup of coffee is the one that you like. So there is no one that can say you should drink these and you must like this cup of coffee. For sure, what I can say and what I can teach to customers and to all the people is what coffee should be good and what coffee you should drink. But if you like Italian classical espresso, it's okay. But there is a lot more. There is a lot more, because coffee is not just coffee.
Yeah.
Behind coffee, there is a history, there is a nature, there is a knowledge, there is a lot of passion. So coffee cannot be just coffee. Coffee is coffee, but you should learn what is coffee first, and then you can drink and you can decide. It depends also the flavor that you can find inside one cup of coffee. Why not? And then you can decide which one you like more. That's for sure.
Absolutely. And before you said, at the beginning you said, well, you were Italian, and this is something I would like to deep dive a little bit into. I mean, later in this talk, we're going to talk about roasting and about extraction of espresso. But first of all, I would like to understand a little bit the culture, from somebody that's really then Italian, living in Italy. So how is it with the espresso or like with the coffee culture in Italy? When are people drinking coffees? Is it like home consumption, or is it really classical? They go to a bar, they go in groups, or are they drinking alone? So can you tell me a little bit about the coffee and especially the espresso culture in Italy?
Yeah, well, I think that, I think Italians are known for espresso and for coffee in general, because we were the first, to invent the roastery machine. So we were the first roaster. We were the first to invent the espresso machine. So that's why Italians are very correlated to coffee in general. Then for the tradition, what I can say that the espresso tradition is much more lived in the bar. And at home, what I can say is that the mocha pot is much more lived at home. Mm-hmm. So it's very hard to find what I can maybe is a 60% that people can drink espresso at home. They prefer to go to the bar and drink espresso. But for the other part, if you are at home, you prefer to make your lovely mocha pot. That's our tradition.
Okay, the Bialetti.
Yeah.
And when you're drinking espresso, is it like, because the picture that we have is people are rushing into a bar, maybe in groups, they're standing at the coffee bar, and then they're putting some sugar in it, they're drinking the coffee, and then they're going out to the next.
Yeah, that's what I was saying before, because tradition is very strong, and we are very focused not on quality. We just drink a cup of coffee because we think that we need coffee. We need caffeine just to wake up. That's it. We don't really care about the quality of the coffee, because if we care, for sure we don't put the sugar. But it's it's like a automatic movements that we have, just to go to the bar, order the espresso, put the sugar, stir, and drink. It's like a medicine. You have to do it's like a running. You have to do, and it's like a competition. You have to do this kind of stuff in 2 minutes. Perfect. 2 minutes, you go to the bar, order the espresso, drink, and that's it. You go to work. And unfortunately, it's not like this. That's why I was saying that coffee is a very, a passion. There is a lot of work behind 1 cup of coffee. First, the barista, but we have the producer, we have all the work behind a cup of coffee. And that's why you should taste, and you should think what you are drinking. It can be just taste the espresso, that's it, pay €1, and that's it. No, it cannot be like this. But yes, what I can say is the Italian tradition is like this. You go to the bar, order the espresso, put the sugar, stir, pay, and that's it. And there is also a difference between, a specialty coffee market and tradition of drinking espresso. Because a specialty coffee market, you go to the bar, you sit, you order, you taste, you maybe you stay there 5 minutes, 10 minutes to taste a cup of coffee, and that's it. Traditionally, it's not like this. You go there, 30 people, 50 people, at the counter, you order, and barista has to be fast. That's it. He has not to think to nothing, just making the espresso as fast as possible, and that's it. Serve the people, and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. Before you were talking, or you mentioned about quality, and I think there when you were talking about quality, you had the glasses of a specialty coffee expert. Because on the other hand, if you're then asking like people that are a bit out of the coffee bubble, all I hear very often is that coffee quality in general, I'm not talking about the specialty coffee segment, just the coffee that you get somewhere in a gas station or in a bar somewhere is higher than in other countries. So people are kind of relating Italian coffee with quality. And where do you think is this coming from? You initially said that the Italians invented the roasting machine and the espresso machine. So is it kind of a culture of having good equipment, or like educated baristas, or a focus on this?
Well, unfortunately, educated barista, nope. Unconsciously, when you think to espresso beverage, you think to something has to be black with a crema, like hazelnut crema. You want something very round with a big body.
Yeah.
Unconsciously, this is what we have in our mind.
Yeah.
And this is what you find maybe 90% in all Italy. Maybe it can be a lot of difference between South Italy and North Italy, because there is also, as I said, the best cup of coffee is the one that you like. So in South Italy, and I'm from South Italy, I'm not from Florence. So I moved to Florence, but I'm from South Italy. So the espresso that we like is, or better, the coffee that we like is like with a high percentage of Robusta. And if you go in North Italy, it's the opposite, because they prefer a coffee with a lot of Arabica and less Robusta. So normally we know that Robusta has a more body. Robusta has maybe this strong flavor, and Robusta inside a cup of espresso can have this big crema. That's why also we have this legend in Italy that a good cup of coffee you can have if you put the sugar, and the sugar goes very, very slow. It means it is a wonderful cup of coffee. And unfortunately, it's not like this, because you can have the best cup of coffee with a higher percentage of Arabica and not for Robusta. So unfortunately, we don't know quite nothing about coffee in Italy. So we have just this tradition, and this tradition goes on since like 50 years. So we're just getting used to drink this coffee, and for us, it's to be like this.
Yeah.
But something can change, fortunately.
Yeah.
But this can be the preference between also South Italy and North Italy. But as I said, unconsciously, we know and we want a cup of coffee that is like with a higher body, warm, and with crema.
Yeah.
We want to see and we want to taste something like this. Then if we find that the coffee tastes like an orange, or the coffee tastes like a nutty or chocolate, can be a good mix, why not? But we don't pay attention to those flavors. We just drink, that's it.
So I see there is this strong tradition of this kind of coffee. And now, how do you see trends in Italy, like specialty coffee, but probably also trends like, I don't know, cold brew, flat whites and things like this, or in general specialty coffee. Is it harder to like? Is it more difficult to develop specialty coffee in Italy, or are the Italians also open to this because they just love coffee? So if you compare it to other countries, for example.
Well, if I'm not talking about Italy, but if we think to the specialty coffee market is just representing 2%.
Yeah.
So we can imagine that 98% of the population likes the normal coffee, the commercial coffee. So to build a specialty coffee market in Italy, I think that is much more harder than the other countries, because we have this strong tradition that is still alive, and we don't want to, we don't want to delay it. No, we don't want to delay this tradition. We just want to open the mind to people that wants to know what is coffee. That's it. Then if you want to drink normal coffee, it's okay. If you want to approach in the specialty coffee market, perfect. We are more than happy, because from there you can understand that is not like coffee is a coffee. Coffee can be a bourbon variety from Honduras. It can be a mixed heirloom from Ethiopia. It can be SL28 from Kenya. It can be a lot of more like wine. Why we go to the restaurant and order Pinot Noir from France, or we go to order Chardonnay from Trentino in Italy? Because maybe we have in our mind something that someone teach to us, and it depends the flavor, it depends the taste that you prefer, you can order from the restaurant. And same thing should be for the coffee. Maybe we don't pay attention because the coffee is much more cheaper than wine. And maybe if the coffee tastes very bad, we don't really care because it's cheaper. But everyone is a sommelier, because if the wine tastes very bad, we say, sorry, waiter, the wine tastes very awful.
Yeah.
So this one should be, the reality for us.
Mm.
And then if the people wants to grow with us and to learn more every day with the specialty coffee, we are here. Otherwise, they can still drink the normal coffee, the commercial coffee.
Yeah.
So for the other trend is the same thing. Cold brew is is a kind of method. If you want something cold for the coffee in Italy, there is like shakerato. But what I can tell you that if you want something cold for coffee, you can taste other beverage, and one of these can be also cold brew. So cold brew can be the nitro. Is something very particular. Also, it depends the coffee that you use. Can be very different as a beverage. So it's like, it depends how you want to help customers. If you really care, you will help them to discover everything about coffee. If you don't really care, maybe you should change your job.
Yeah. How are you doing it in your coffee shops? Because you have probably mixed people that are coming in Florence. Do you have kind of different grinders? So grinder with more specialty coffees and grinder with more commercial coffees? Or are you then really, you say you're positioning yourself on specialty coffee and for commercial coffee or more classical coffees?
No, what we did, we treat all, we buy just a specialty coffee. But what we did at the beginning is to create two different blends. So one blend is, specialty coffee. There is this characteristic that is is coming from the coffee that is like acidity. So Italian people, they are not getting used to drink acidic coffee. So the first blend that we create, and we called jump, because when you drink, you just jump. So it was acidic for one part, for Italian people.
Mm.
And that's why after a few months, we create a blend called Mamma Mia.
Mm-hmm.
It means my mom.
Yeah.
So, and the story is a funny story, because specialty coffee is not very used for Italian customers. So the mom of the owner didn't like our coffee.
Yeah.
Because he's a old woman. So what we did is to create a blend that goes close to the typical Italian espresso, using always specialty coffee, but mixing some origins and roasting some origins to taste then quite as Italian espresso. So from there, the mom of the owner now drinks our coffee.
Yeah, good.
So, and that's why we played a lot with the origins of coffee and the roasting, and also the process. So the coffee in general that we bought with a different process to create a kind of taste profile to go well with the Italian tradition.
Yeah, that's something that I just wanted to ask you. What is, in your opinion, the taste profile of a good quality but very traditional Italian espresso?
Well, I think that when we talk about quality, even with a specialty coffee shop, the espresso has to be, or in general, coffee has to be balanced.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm not asking, I want a flavor of tropical fruit in espresso. I want espresso that is balanced between acidity, between sweetness, and between bitterness.
Yeah, why don't we deep dive now a bit into how to create this kind of coffee? So, I'm a more traditional espresso style coffee. What kind of beans are typical for this? You mentioned before that in South you have a bit more Robusta, in the North you have a bit more Arabica. I assume it's, in most cases, still it's a bit of a blend, just with different percentages, or what kind of beans are typical for this kind of coffee?
Well, if we talk about origins, I think that the 99% of the roastery in general use in their blend Brazilian coffee. Brazilian coffee normally, there is like low acidity, very sweet, with a nutty flavor, chocolate. So every people use a higher percentage of Brazilian coffee inside their blend. Then, as I said, if we compare South Italy with the North Italy, in South Italy, we prefer like a blend with a 70% of Robusta and 30% of Arabica. And we have the opposite in North Italy. We have a 30% Robusta or even less, and 70-80% of Arabica. So if we talk, yes, about the origin, for sure, we have Costa Rica, we have, something that is very balanced. And especially if we talk about the process, is a natural process. Then, of course, if we talk about commercial coffee, we have, we don't know what happened, unfortunately, in the origin country, because they mix all together, because they don't really care about the quality, because the price is a low comparing to specialty coffee market. But if we have to describe coffee as an origin and as a process, for sure we will go with South America or Central American coffee with a natural process. Maybe something African, but it's a very hard to find than those African coffee inside a commercial blend.
Hmm. And these African coffees, then they would be kind of the big portion, or that would be an add-on, so that you have kind of
I
a
think
Brazilian basis.
a tiny percentage.
Yeah.
Maybe just to put a kind of acidity inside a blend. Otherwise, we can go also with Colombian coffee, because if you go coffee in general, talking with in few words, is like coffee that grows in a high altitude will have more acidity. Coffee that grows in a low altitude will have low acidity.
Hmm.
So normally Colombian coffee are very high in altitude, so you can also manage to put inside your blend a Colombian coffee to have more fruity cup of espresso.
Okay, nice. So you say that the basis is typically like a natural from Brazil and a Robusta. So depending on more south, you have up to 70% Robusta, up more in the north, maybe 30% Robusta, rest Arabica, mostly naturals. Add a little bit of Colombian or African, like Ethiopian beans or something like that, to give a little bit of a special touch to the coffee.
Depends the green coffee that you choose. It depends on how you roast. But is step by step. If you choose a high quality green coffee, you will taste. If you choose medium, you will taste. If you choose low quality of green coffee, you will taste for sure. So it depends on everything that you choose.
How did you like the video so far? I find these interviews just so inspiring. There is so much you can learn about coffee roasting. Did you know that one of the main reasons we can get so great people to these interviews is that we have a couple of thousand subscribers in this channel, because like that they know if they take their time, there are going to be a lot of people that are going to watch the video then. At the same time, if I'm looking at YouTube, I see that most of the people that are watching these videos don't subscribe to our channel. Therefore, I'm just asking you for a little favor. Take these 2 seconds of time and subscribe to our channel. You are going to do me, but also the whole coffee roasting community a big favor, because the more subscribers we have, the more and bigger guests we can get for these interviews. By the way, if you like this video, you can also give it a like, because the more it is liked, the more it's going to be shown on YouTube. So much for that. I thank you very much, but now let's continue with the video.
Unfortunately, there is one more thing that we have in Italy, is that you don't know what kind of origin you have inside the blend. Because for all the roastery, it's like a secret. We are very proud to put in our bag, this coffee is from Honduras, is a Catuai variety from pinnacle plant with those process. We are very proud to present our coffee with the identity card.
Yeah.
Why it has to be a secret? I don't think it has to be a secret. So, unfortunately, there is this thing that we don't know what kind of origin there is in bag of coffee, that commercial coffee.
But on the other hand, as I said, it's not, to be honest, it's not too big of a secret. The classical blend is, as you said, like this.
No, because, you can, if you don't want to say everything, but you can say where is it from, and maybe to don't say the process, I don't know, the name of the farm. If there is like a single farm, I don't think so. Maybe it's like a cooperative that put everything together and then sell and spread the coffees. But I think that to put origins is something that can help people to understand that maybe this coffee can taste like this other coffee can taste like this. Why not?
But you managed to create an espresso that the mother of your owner likes and drinks, the Mamma Mia. Do you reveal what kind of beans you're using for this blend?
Inside this blend, there are like 4 origins. We have Ethiopia, Honduras, Peru, and Costa Rica in a different percentage, of course, and also different process. So what you will find then at the end in this cup of coffee, you will have like a medium acidity that reminds you like the acidity of a red apple. So, unconsciously when you also eat an apple, you don't think it is acidic. You just think to the sweetness.
Yeah.
But if you just stop and think, you will say, yes, this apple is also acidic. Like all the fruit, if you eat a strawberry, if you eat mango, if you eat fruit passion, if you eat a lemon, every kind of fruit has their acidity. So that's why we create a blend to have a very balanced cup of coffee. Instead, in the jump, in the other blend, you will have a citric acidity that when you drink, you can say, wow, what is this? And maybe you're not getting used. It's okay. We can accept. And that's why we create the other blend to help people to drink an espresso that is maybe that reminds you an Italian espresso.
Okay. So, and then what about the roasting style? But which roast level is typical when we're going now back from Mamma Mia again to the more commercial, to the more classic roasting style? Is it like going into beginning of second crack or much darker, or does it also depend a bit on like the region?
Well, as I said, you can have a lot of difference for sure. Some roastery that goes before second crack, but also that goes after second crack. There is something that Italian customers don't know what happened during the roasting phase. It's just coffee. But I think that our tradition, and in general, in coffee tradition, if we say that coffee tastes coffee, is because of this. We don't pay attention to something. If we taste something different now, is something that we say, no, is not good. Because we are not getting used. Because for us, coffee is coffee. What is the taste of coffee? Coffee.
Yeah.
So I think that for one part, people has to understand that coffee is not coffee. And what happened during those roasting phase? Because now I can tell you that the roasting is a hard part. Because I'm doing in Ditta Artigianale. Because I was barista, I was a manager, and now I'm just the manager of the production. So I'm roasting, and then we are preparing and selling our coffee and all around the world. But what I can say is that roasting, you should very pay attention to what you do. Because you don't know how he's reacting those coffee. Because if you take Ethiopian coffee, it will not be the same as a Honduran coffee. So it depends how you roast. You can have a lot of differences. And typical Italian espresso, you don't have too much complexity in the cup, because it will have for sure those big body, but then if we talk about complexity, it will be very low.
Yeah. And how do you roast Mamma Mia? On what roast level, or how, like, with what kind of a roasting style are you approaching this coffee?
Well, we have we do like a medium roast for sure, and we do medium roast, and it's not at the end dark roast. We have we roast in like for the blend, and we roast for the single origin. For the blend, for sure, we will go more higher than our single origin, because we know that our blend are just for the espresso beverage. Then for the single origin that we serve in other beverage, and not just in the espresso, we will do always in medium roast, but with less degrees. So that our coffee can be good for the espresso and good for the filter coffee. So it's a kind of omni roast. We don't do light, we don't do dark. We do like a medium, because even for us, as I told you, we want to taste a cup of coffee at the end that is very balanced.
Yeah. And are you doing pre-blends or post-blends? So are you blending the beans before the roast or after the roast?
We do post-roast blend.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So we roast all the coffees, and then we do the blend.
What are your recommendations on a typical espresso extraction recipe? Kind of how much in, how much out, how much time? So how would you educate a barista that is working in a classical Italian bar to work on the espresso machine?
Well, I think if we talk about normal coffees, I remember when I did the first course, it was like this kind of rule: 25 ml for 25 seconds.
Yeah,
that's it. Then I understood a lot that there is no rules in the coffee. But what I can say that if you use like a commercial coffee, I can say that those rule 25 ml in 25 seconds, more or less, it can be very fine. Normally for the gram scene, in Italy, we don't go higher than 7 grams for a single portafilter. And so with a double portafilter is like 14 grams.
Yeah. Okay.
So 14 grams with 25, 30 ml in 25, 30 seconds. This one is the normal recipe that in Italy they use. But is something that maybe we know, because barista doesn't know, because they don't even know that a normal grinder with a clip, and if you do the first click, should be 7 grams or should be 8 grams or should be 9 grams. You don't know. They just go there, click, tamp.
Yeah.
That's it. Extraction. 20 seconds, it's okay. 10 seconds, it's okay. 40 seconds, it's okay.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that's why the barista job has to change. For example, we used for double portafilter 17 to 18 grams. We always do like a proportion 1 to 2. And the second of extraction can be from 27 to 31 seconds. But for the single origin, to have a more complexity, we go a little bit more higher. We do like 19 grams with always proportion 1 to 2. So 19 grams for 38 to 40 grams out in about 27, 30 seconds. But it depends the coffee that you have.
And the water temperature around
94 degrees.
Yeah. Okay. Is there anything that you experience that is typical that people are doing wrong, or where they can improve when they try to make, an espresso, a nice espresso? When you're doing your workshops or when you're talking with baristas, are there any kind of hacks or recommendations that you can give that you very often see?
Well, I think that my recommendation for people and baristas is just one, to be curious.
Mm.
Baristas has to be curious for the job, because if you do something that is very annoying, I think it's not your job. If you know what you are doing, if you know what you are serving, if you know what you want to do with your customers as well, it's something very cool. And also from the customers has to be the same thing. Today I want to taste one coffee, tomorrow I want to taste another coffee, and I want to learn what is coffee. Because then, if I know that the baristas works in quality,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe I have 20 type of coffees, but I prefer just one, I will go there and ask, Francesco, today would you like one Mamma Mia espresso?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. It's okay. So at least you know what kind of beans and what kind of coffee you like. And you know that we work with the quality. Because of clean the portafilter, we flush the water, we weigh the grams in, we weigh the grams out, we respect the extraction. We do everything with quality.
Yep.
And then from there, you can choose your bar, your coffee shop,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe your barista as well.
Yeah. Yes. One thing I'm that jumped into my mind, because you have the whole chain, between sourcing, roasting, and then also like the bars. So are you doing it? How are you managing freshness with the coffee? So, for example, at the roaster, are you directly packing the coffees into bags? Are you letting them rest outside? How much time? Do you have a threshold of time, minimum and maximum time that you secure for a coffee from the roaster?
We prefer the coffee to degas one day, and then we pack.
Okay.
So normally we do, it depends how much we roast, honestly. But normally the first day that I roast and then it goes like this, I'm not packing nothing. We are just labeling the coffees that we need, and that's it. And then since the next day, we start to pack the coffee that has to degas.
Yeah. Okay.
But normally, yes, we prefer for the coffee to degas at least one day, and then we start to pack.
Okay. And then until it goes to the machine, another like 5 to 7 days, or is it then after this one day?
For the blend, we go also 10, 15 days.
Yeah.
Also 20 days. Why not? And it tastes very, very good. But we don't say to customers, you cannot use, because if I have an order of Mamma Mia or Jump that are the blend, I cannot say you don't have to use them. Maybe our known customers, they know that they should serve the coffees after 15 days, because it tastes, but also the extraction, it will be, constant. Because otherwise you will be just, crazy to play with the grinders and extraction.
Hey, thanks a lot for all these tips and recommendations. And it's really, I can really feel that you're really passionate about quality in coffee, and within Ditta Artigianale, I'm sure you're really behind having fresh, good quality of beans, good quality of extractions. And that's really great. And I also know that you're doing education in Italy. So maybe like at the end, you can tell a little bit about where people can find out more about you,
because
about your company, the courses and things.
because as I said, and I'm still keeping saying the same, people has to be curious. People has to learn. Even if it's a coffee, even if it's a cheap product, has to learn what is. Because then with all the information, you can choose wherever you prefer. And that's why in one of the coffee shop that we have in Florence, we decide, and it is the first school inside a coffee shop in Europe to have a school inside a coffee shop. Mm-hmm. Because we want to teach to customers. We want to teach also to baristas that wants to join us, or maybe even for the other company that wants to learn about coffee. So we make all the courses about coffee. We do for the coffee lovers, for professionals, for customers, for everyone that wants to enjoy a cup of coffee and to learn what is behind a cup of coffee. So, Ditta Artigianale, and we called our school Scuola del Caffè, that means the School of Coffee. And if you pass by in Florence, for sure, you have to stop to enjoy a cup of coffee and to see our courses.
Thanks a lot, Francesco. It was really great talking to you. Thanks for revealing all those tips and tricks. And it was really nice talking to you.
Thank you very much. Waiting for you in Florence.
Yeah, thanks. Bye-bye, Francesco.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
I hope this video was fun to watch and it was helpful for you. If you want to know more about coffee roasting, then come to our website, roasttravels.com. We have a lot of information on roasting, but we have also equipment like coffee roasting machines, color meters, books, and many more. In addition to that, a really nice selection of green coffee beans from all over the world. You find a link to our website right here. You could also look through our YouTube channels. We have a lot of videos on coffee roasting, on equipment, but also very inspirational interviews with coffee roasters, coffee traders, and many more. If you have any questions left, then always come back to me. I'm Ingo from Roast Travels, and I look forward to talking to you.